Okay. All right, so good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Mayor and Borough Council. Today is Monday, December 19th, 2022. This is our last regular meeting of the year. I will ask our Borough Clerk, Kathleen Holmes, to read the open public meeting statement, please.
This meeting was called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting was sent to the Union County Hawk, Westfield, New Jersey, the Courier News, Bridgewater, New Jersey, the Star Ledger, Newark, New Jersey, and the Alternate Press, tapinto.net. In addition, copies of this notice were posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and filed in the office of the Borough Clerk. Notices on the bulletin board have remained continuously posted. Proper notice having been given, the Borough Clerk is directed to include this statement in the minutes of this meeting.
Thank you. For everybody that's here today, I would ask you to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and then a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I would ask, as we have a moment of silence, to remember that while this is for many a joyous time of year, that there are many that find this not so joyous and have heartache and sorrow, and that we keep those people in our prayers. Thank you. May we have a roll call, please?
Council President Anthony Carter.
Present via Zoom.
Jeffrey Banks.
Here.
Francine Glazier. Erin McRoy Barker.
Here.
Catherine Mitchell.
Here.
Patricia Walsh.
Here.
Mayor Colleen Moore.
Present. So good evening and welcome to the regular scheduled meeting of the Mayor and Council. Before we get into our regular business, this is the time that we do presentations, announcements, and proclamations. And it is also our last meeting of the year. And as we head into Christmas and we are celebrating Hanukkah and we are giving thanks for so much, it is a wonderful ability today to have a proclamation that we are calling True Heroes. So for those who are watching from home, what you may or not see is that we have a wonderful packed house today of first responders. And one thing that I have come to know and to hold dear is what a close-knit community first responders are. And that how quickly that each, regardless of where their jurisdiction may be, will appear and support. And so tonight, we're going to talk about an accident, an unfortunate incident that had a wonderful outcome to it. And we felt here in the borough of Fanwood that there are heroes that work amongst us every day, but every once in a while there's a moment in time that we feel needs to be publicly acknowledged and talked about. And tonight is one such thing. So I'm going to ask our police director, Mike Bramhall, to come forward, and I'll join you in a moment. But if you want to sort of set the stage for why we're here tonight and why we have a proclamation entitled True Heroes, and joining him is Lieutenant Dan Krantz.
Thank you, Mayor. Lieutenant Krantz is going to give a brief overview of the incident before you read the proclamation.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Mayor, you said it great. This was an unfortunate incident with a wonderful outcome. I'll get right to it. On October 25th, around 5:30 p.m., our police units were dispatched to 194 Martine Avenue. When they got there, they noticed a vehicle. It was an accident. A vehicle had hit a fire hydrant, and there were some wonderful citizens driving by that had begin to aid the single occupant of the vehicle. I am thankful that while obviously it was a horrible incident, that everybody's here today. Everyone's here in the audience. So I would love for those people to be recognized. And if I could ask Dennis Hercel, Rose Budka, and Bridget Keyes to come up.
Come on in. Come on in. So I'm going to read a proclamation, and we have several copies so that everyone that is mentioned will actually get one. Whereas a hero, a true hero, is defined as a person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievement, or noble qualities. They are referred to as champions, victors, winners, warriors, knights of shining armor, and so many other worthy titles. However, a true hero is a person who, without thinking about their own welfare, jumps into action for another. Whereas on October 25th, 2022, at 5:31 p.m., units were dispatched in front of 194 Martine Avenue on a report of a motor vehicle accident with injuries. As police arrived, a vehicle had crashed into a fire hydrant after the driver experienced a severe medical injury. Whereas a passerby, Rose Butka, a technologist with Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, had stopped her vehicle to render aid to the driver. Seeing that the driver had stopped breathing and had no heartbeat, Rose began performing CPR. Whereas shortly after, a member of the Scotch Plains Fire Department, Battalion Chief Dennis Hersel, who happened to be driving by, stopped to assist by retrieving an AED and taking over CPR from Butka. Whereas Scotch Plains firefighters Chief John Lasarchek, Deputy Chief Skip Powell, and Captain Brendan Canavan arrived soon after to continue CPR. The Fanwood Fire Department also arrived with Captains Vinnie Bianco, Tony Grasso, firefighters Sean Mineta, Ken Gorman, Dante Clausen, and Nick Tripoti assisting on the scene. The patient was transported to the hospital with a pulse, and she continued her recovery since then. She looks good, doesn't she? It was determined by hospital staff that the quick reaction by Miss Butka and Battalion Chief Hersel, along with the other responders, is the sole reason why the victim survived the accident. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Colleen Marr, here in the mayor, along with the Borough Council here in Fanwood, hereby proclaim that these individuals are, in fact, true heroes and should be recognized as such. And be it resolved that the proclamation will be read into the record tonight of December 19th and spread across the minutes of this meeting to officially thank and recognize the individuals for serving as true role models for people in this community to admire and to follow. And we thank you.
So this was my first time actually driving down this road since the accident happened. I guess I was driving home from work. Driving home from work. Just so happens that I also worked at Sloan Kettering for many, many years, as did Rose, and works in the same facility as my ex-husband. So not only the stars aligned, karma and all of that aligned as well. So it was just kind of strange driving down. The whole thing is a blur. I don't remember any of it, none of it whatsoever. Just waking up in the hospital and then getting into another ambulance to go to Hackensack where I had a defibrillator placed. All of my checkups have been fine. They have no idea what happened at all. They no clue. My primary doctor was a little upset because she keeps telling me I'm the lowest risk factor for any cardiac history whatsoever. So this came out of the blue with no history at all. Since then, I've been fine, walking a few miles a day, spending too much money being home from work for the holidays, but spending it because I'm alive. There is no way I would have survived it, let alone been able to speak right now if it wasn't for Rose and Mr. Hersel. So thank you. I'm a nurse as well, so I know these things happen every day, and you don't always get a thank you. So thank you both very much for giving me my life. I have two daughters here that are also pretty thankful that their mom is still alive, especially for the holidays. So thank you.
You want to set it up? Thank you. So,
Thank you.
Sign this here. Where's Dennis? Where'd Dennis go? You ran out of here, Dennis. Hold on, Dennis. Come over here. I'm going to give this to you. want you to keep this end. Okay, and then we have a few others which I'll have Kathleen make sure that everybody gets. And, you know, I want to look towards all of you and away from the camera for a minute, because the men and the women that are in this room here as our first responders, the police, the fire, the rescue squad, thank you. Thank you for doing what you do every single day, to have our backs, literally, right? Thank you for strangers, right, who could have stopped by and just called 911 and kept going, right? But instead stopped and got out of the car and put you on another path, right? And it's just a beautiful moment at a wonderful time of the year that we try to really give thanks for the simple things, right? To cut through all the noise and just to remember why we do what we do, right? Whether we're in healthcare or in law enforcement or in fire, or we serve as government officials here. It is moments like this that I capture that I will remember. And that is why we wanted to take a few minutes before we begin our regular business to just say thank you. Thank you so much. We wish you, right, the best life with your daughters, and is it your mother? Your mother, right? And you have 3 generations right here, right? And it's going to be a wonderful holiday. So from my family to all of you, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just.
Thank you. Thank you.
No, I don't. It's all consent. Just Gina's here.
Yep. And Mr.
Is he here?
I don't know, do we really have to do anything else?
To be honest, I feel like
Like, seriously, could we just go home?
you really can't top that.
That's good enough.
Like, seriously,
It's all right.
right?
Oh, it's not a lot of things on here.
So she.
Okay. So as we continue to move on with our business at hand, we have one discussion on the table for a shared service, a potential shared service that we would like to have the governing body consider for the beginning of the year. So I think I'll ask Raina and our CFO, Trish Salardo, to sort of tee it up for us.
Okay, so we have an existing shared service agreement with Union Township on the other side of the county. They provide our QPA, our qualified purchasing agent. That purchasing agent allows us to exceed the bidding threshold. So we go from 17.5 as a threshold to 44. So that it is a significant benefit to the borough when it comes to making purchases. So they would like to renew our agreement. We had an initial agreement in 2016. It was extended, so this would be a new 4-year agreement for 2023, 24, 25, and 26. The base amount of the agreement is $17,000 with 2% increases.
So, and again, I think with our purchasing agent, right, not our QPA, but with Pat, who's sort of retired and sort of working part-time, this is sort of why we are looking at an enhanced version of the
Yes.
shared service?
Yes, there are some additional duties, which is why over the life of the contract, there will be a 2% per year increase. Now, should our circumstances change, 90-day written notice, we can terminate the shared services agreement.
Is there any comments or questions?
I don't think so.
So I think that we would have this on.
Anthony's got a question.
Yes, Council President,
Can the other party terminate the agreement and under what conditions?
either party can terminate with written notice within 90 days.
So I'm saying that's,
Great. So if I guess the governing body can get a copy of the proposed And if Russ can take a look at it, just to make sure that we're good with it, then I'll leave it up to you guys as to what meeting in January that you would want it on.
Right. Russ has already reviewed the proposal, and so I think we're good on that. We will just circulate the proposal and the newly drafted resolution renewing the service.
Right, if you want, we can put it on for the reorg meeting and just put the contract amount in the temporary
Oh.
budget. And then we would have coverage as of tomorrow morning.
Yes.
Okay, that
Okay.
sounds pretty good. Thank you very much. Good job. With that, I'm going to go into our privilege of the floor by the public. This is the first of two opportunities that the public has. Can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to call forward any members of the public. I'm not sure if we have anybody on social media.
I'm looking now.
I don't see anyone on
Okay.
Facebook.
Thank you. Any members of the public wish to come forward at this point? Seeing that there isn't any, may I have a motion to close this portion of the privilege of the floor to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on, we have regular minutes of the meeting for November 21st. May I have a motion to move those minutes as they have been presented to you?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next, we have one ordinance that requires a public reading and adoption, and I will ask Councilwoman Barker, McElroy Barker, under A and F, to please move that, and to just tee it up and all that good stuff.
Just give me 1 second.
Sure.
Thank you. No,
Oh, that's the other one, sorry.
no, I don't
It's
hold
at the
that.
back.
Take that back.
There you go.
Okay. This is the nepotism one, right? Okay. It wasn't in the title, so I just wanted to make sure I was talking about the same one. Okay. I call it for second reading, ordinance O-2022-16-R. This amends Chapter 29 of the Borough of Ethics Code, and this is a second reading for the official policy, the anti-nepotism policy, that Fanwood is officially adopting as of now. I move that a public hearing be held on said ordinance.
May I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to call forward any members of the public that wish to make a comment on the amending the ordinance of Chapter 25, which is amending our Code of Ethics to strengthen the...
29.
29, sorry, to strengthen its provisions within the jurisdiction of the Borough of Fanwood.
Oh my God, I forgot my hat.
Seeing that there isn't anyone that wishes to come forward, may I have a motion to close the public
So
hearing?
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I move this ordinance be adopted on second reading and final passage, and if adopted, be published as required by law.
May I have a second?
Second.
May I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Anthony Carter,
Affirm.
Jeffrey Banks.
Yes.
Erin McElroy Barker,
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell,
Yes.
Patricia Walsh.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on, we have several items under the consent agenda, which we will read the title.
Yeah, and I have my two little papers out. Okay, I got them. Just because I like to read the numbers for people.
Absolutely.
So under consent agenda is 2022-12-229, authorizing payment of claims for December 2022 in the amount of $6,273,289.08. 2022-12-230, authorizing the tax report for November. Total collections for the month of November were $6,721,726.87, bringing our total tax levy to 98.21%
Awesome.
through November.
That's awesome.
2022-12-231, resolution authorizing the transfer of the 2022 budget appropriation. 2022-12-232, authorizing the CFO to cancel unexpended balances. 2022-11-234, authorizing the waiving of the estoppel period of ordinance O-2022-16-R, which we just passed. I think that's it for consent.
So may I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. May I have a roll call, please?
Anthony Carter,
Oh, just this one.
Affirm.
Jeffrey Banks,
Yes.
Erin McElroy Barker,
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell,
Yes.
Patricia Walsh.
Yes.
One resolution.
And we have one resolution to move, that's 2022-12-233, authorizing salary adjustments for various employees. These are basically corrections that we are making to the salary ordinance change and resolution we passed a couple months ago, just to make a couple people whole at the end of the year, who didn't quite get what they needed when we did that a few months ago.
May I have a roll call, please?
Anthony Carter,
Affirm.
Jeffrey Banks.
Yes.
Erin McElroy Barker,
Yes.
Catherine Mitchell,
Yes.
Patricia Walsh.
Yes.
All right, there you go.
That's all I got.
All right. We have no unfinished or old business, and we will now go into, I guess, the last standing committee reports of the year. So I'll start with Councilwoman Erin McElroy Barker of Administration and Finance.
I have notes today,
Uh-oh.
but don't worry, I won't talk nearly as long as anyone else I can think of. Okay, so as anyone here knows, A&F meets at least twice a month throughout the year, as there is always a huge agenda under both the administration side and the finance side of things that we need to get through, make decisions about, and work through throughout the year. So we had our final meeting last week, which was 2 full hours long. But as part of the wrap-up for the year, it is also my wrap-up as chair of A&F. I've been chair for 3 years. I think I've been on A&F thanks to Tom Krantz for 4. And as much as I have really, really enjoyed it, it is time for someone else to try their hand at it. And so Councilman Carter will be taking over as chair of A&F next year, along with Kathy Mitchell, who's been on the committee with both of us for the last few years, and Trish Walsh gets the privilege of being number 3 on the committee. So I wish them all great luck.
Think we'll need it.
So just to wrap up where we're at as A&F, we have spent a tremendous amount of time over the last 3 to 4 to 5 to 7 years working on making decisions around how to manage our sewers. This may seem like not such a big deal, but actually our sewers are very, very old. And in deciding many years ago to take the sewer on as a utility, we decided to take more ownership and be more proactive about how the health and safety of those sewers, so we prevent a catastrophe. We are still trying to do that, and we are still trying to do that in the most cost-efficient way to the taxpayers. Everybody knows there's a sewer utility. I will say that our sewer rates in Fanwood are far lower than almost every other town around us, and our sewers are quite old. So in 2023, we will continue to look at what that needs to look at in order to support the health and life of the sewers. So one of the things that we are definitely going to do as part of that in early 2023 is to redo a sewer study, which we haven't done in at least, is it 7 years, Antonius?
Probably been that long.
6 or 7
I
years?
wasn't part of it, but
Time flies.
I think,
You weren't part of it.
I was
Okay.
not part of it, but
It was
I was on council, okay. So we did a sewer study many years ago to see what the condition of our sewers was and to give us a sense of what they needed. We need to repeat that because 7 years is a very long time underground. So that will happen in the early part of the year, and that will help guide our decision-making about how to manage the sewers going forward. So that's one. The second thing that we have been working toward is, really tightening up our HR policies, and there will be a lot of adjustment and reorganization in the in Borough Hall next year to make sure that, again, we aren't that we are making the best use that we can of the people that we have for all of the jobs that need to be done, for which there are definitely not enough people and way too many jobs. But there's always room for improvement and growth, and so we will be doing that as well. In the last few years, the court revenues have gone down significantly, and whereas this used to be an area that was a source of revenue for the borough, it is now a source of debt. And initially that was, and it's for many reasons that this has happened, not the least of which was, people not moving around anymore during COVID, and then some structural changes we've made in the way we run things that I think have also been beneficial to the community in terms of shifting our focus more toward community policing. However, what that means is that we do need to make decisions about how to manage our courts, and we have started that process and we'll continue that into next year. I think it's important to say that the borough runs on a razor-thin budget. Partly my fault. We went many, many years with little to no tax increase, which I thought was a good thing, and it is a good thing. And I'm a Democrat, and I say it's a good thing. But regardless, in a town this small, where revenue is as light as it is, to support all of the things that the township is doing, not to mention the infrastructure that is aging, it has put us in a tight spot. So the budget is as tight as it can be, I assure you. There is no extra fat anywhere. And the budget process for 2023 will be just as challenging as the budget process was for this year. And again, Councilman Carter will be taking that over. So I will just be a yes or no. But my point is that we are, as a whole council, doing everything we can to help the borough run as efficiently as possible with everybody's pocketbooks in mind, always, including our own, as we are residents here. And costs of everything have gone up. I'm sure you've noticed this. Not just gas, not just mortgage rates, but literally everything. Supplies, everything. And that hasn't skipped over the borough's expenses either. So that's an important thing to mention. In 2023, we will be moving forward in considering what to do with our public works facility and making plans toward that. And we have a whole committee of people involved in that. I think those are mostly the things that I wanted to get to, and just to say again that the job of ANF is not just the 3 people on the committee, but the whole council, in helping ourselves and you understand what goes into kind of making a borough run, and taking care of the people who live here. And I'm sure that will continue in 2023. So thank you for the privilege of letting me do it. Let's see what else I have. I have TRHT, which has been relatively quiet as far as meetings are concerned, but racial healing circles have been going on. I will be stepping aside from that in 2023. I'm not quitting. We're just moving around. Sounds like I'm quitting. And Trish will be taking my place on that committee as well, which I'm very happy about. So what we're hoping is that in 2023 there will be an expansion of the Racial Healing Circle movement from this group, and I look forward to Trish running one. And then, you're welcome. And then what I'm not stepping away from is my role on public safety, so I'm going to give the captain's report for November for the rescue squad, and then I'm done. Total of 25 calls for the month of November. Mostly sick people and respiratory issues, some falls. Most people went to Overlook if they were transported to the hospital. And there was only a 16% insufficient crew call. Response time was about 8 minutes, and we also participated in 4 mutual aid calls with Scotch Plains. As always, we like to thank the rescue squad for participating in mutual aid calls. Some months are definitely more packed with those than others. And the rescue squad also continued to participate in as many activities as they could, including PAL football until the season ended, and all the Fanwood senior meetings at Forest Road Park. I'm pretty certain that they were at the tree lighting, although I was not able to be there. And they helped to participate as well on Santa's big journey around town this past weekend. So we thank them very much for everything they've done. Please keep in mind that these are all volunteers, and this is quite an obligation, and so we thank them. That's it.
Thank you very much, and thank you for all your leadership. Moving on into public safety, Police Commissioner Patricia Walsh.
Thank you. So we had our regular meeting of public safety on December 16th. Just again, as Erin stated, kind of a summary of the year. And for fire, pretty much everything's status quo, around 300 calls for the year, which is about right. They have 3 new members, which is very exciting. Young and experienced, which is great. And as Erin just mentioned, they did have their big Santa moment this weekend, and I think they said there were about 440 stops, which is absolutely incredible. And again,
I think that's over 100.
It's
More.
amazing.
It's 100
Oh,
more
yeah,
than last year.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
they were going way into the evening
Yep, they
hours.
started early and went very late, so, and I did ask the question of, how is everyone feeling about this, that it's getting so big and takes so many hours? And the response was, they love it. So,
They'll start earlier instead
and
of 10:30.
they love it, they love it. So
As long as it's
again,
under the age limit.
yeah,
teenagers.
that's true. Teenagers, maybe not. So that's the fire from our meeting. And for rescue, sorry. Again, everything pretty much status quo. They also assisted with the Santa. They have about 401 calls for the year, a little bit higher. They have 5 new members, which is great. And so they're all good. And for the police, Director Bramhall will be giving his annual report to the mayor and council in January. But as far as December, the department handled 948 calls for service, about 31 per day. This includes 47 traffic enforcement details, 273 building checks. The officers conducted 49 park and walk details, as well as responding to 37 medical calls and 37 fire and burglar alarms. During the month, 180 vehicles were stopped for traffic violations, resulting in 95 summonses being issued. 91 of those were for moving violations and 4 for parking. We are continuing with our officers to attend training classes. We had about 21 different training classes in December. There were 0 adult arrests for the month. Officer Sean Murphy was released from field training. He's been assigned to a patrol shift. Officer Chris Panera has joined the Union County Emergency Response Team. And the Fanwood officers read books to children at Brunner Elementary School on November 9th, which was lovely. And Project Safe Place is in its final stages of being rolled out to the local businesses. I also wanted to mention that the police department assisted with the Christmas tree house on Patterson, which was really a great help, and all the residents around that area appreciated the help. There were pictures in the Hawk of that, which was really nice to see. And let's see what else. So I will continue as Chair of Public Safety and the Police Commissioner in 2023, which I am absolutely thrilled to work with Director Bramhall, the Police Department, all of the fire and rescue. It's really my privilege. They are all really very, very dedicated and hardworking for the residents of Fanwood, so I truly appreciate that. Our new Councilwoman Gina Barry will be on public safety, so we're excited about that. And Erin will continue, and that's wonderful. And I think that's about it.
Thank you. Moving on under Public Works, Councilwoman Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor. The seniors had their Christmas party last week, and a good time was had by all. The food was great, and I said a good time was had by all because there were some challenges with this Christmas party because of cost, and so when they finally were able to get everything all ironed out, they all had a very good time. And I just have to bring up one thing. Apparently, I was told that there were some members of the staff or the governing body, I'm not exactly sure, that said that they were going to be there, and then, of course, didn't come for whatever reason, I don't know why. But the seniors had to pay for that meal, so in the future, if you say you're going to do something, please do it, especially when it's at a cost to the seniors. We had a very, very successful LEAF program this year. This is the first time the mayor came up with the idea that seniors who needed their leaves raked we were able to garner a whole bunch of volunteers, and they went out one weekend and under the auspices of Kathleen, our senior coordinator, and from what I understand, everybody had a great time.
They did.
The people were very thankful that their leaves were raked. So I think this will be something that we will do again next year, and maybe it will become a routine thing here in Fanwood for our seniors, and you can get on the list to have your leaves raked next year. Also, I'm going to speak a little bit early for Martin Luther King Day, only because by the time our next council meeting occurs, Martin Luther King will have happened.
That's right.
So for all of those who are new in Fanwood, we take Martin Luther King Day very seriously here in the borough of Fanwood and the township of Scotch Plains. It's been in operation probably for 10 or 12 years now. It was an offshoot of the ministerium. There were 3 ladies right here in town who get this off the ground. And the part of the whole day is that we honor the legacy of Martin Luther King. And there are various programs that go on in town, and as far as the seniors are concerned, Immaculate Heart of Mary Church will be hosting a senior brunch again this year, and it will be open to all seniors in Fanwood and or Scotch Plains. We would just like to know if you are coming, and there will be some literature going out on Facebook with phone numbers that you can call. We just want you to know that if you're we want to have enough food. So if you're planning on coming, and I hope you do, because there will be bingo also, and it's usually a fun event. But this is how part of how we give back to the community, as it is a day of service. So look for all of that on your social media, on your, I think probably on the Friday Blast, and also on whatever cable channel you watch. And then Public Works, let me see here. They were very busy this month. They're trying to wrap up all the leaves. They were kind of shorthanded this month because we had no part-time help, but they've been out there in the rain and everything, so I do thank them very much for all that they do. They've been around town decorating with the wreaths and the ribbons and a lot of things that go on that make Fanwood look so great at Christmas time, the holiday season. Let me see what else. Okay, the recycling center will be open on January 7th this year. Next year, sorry. Sorry, that snuck up on me. January 7th, and also I think you were told at the last council meeting that we are now collecting plastic bags also as part of Trek, and they will be making benches out of that, from what I understand. And I think that's about it, Mayor.
Thank you. Antonius, as our borough engineer.
Good evening. So things are quiet in the construction pretty much, other than Glenwood Road. Winter is here, so they're going to start winterizing the project, which is pretty much making the road plowable and usable by the residents. And the contractor will be back in the spring to finish the project. I think we want to notice all the residents, let them know what's happening. We'll send them a letter, just to make sure they understand and call us if there's any issues. Other than that, we're just getting ready for the new year. We've got the library ready to start pretty soon. We've been working on the DPW building a little bit. I finally got comments back from Green Acres, so I'm going to be finishing those plans up this year to go out to bid for the nature center. And then just day-to-day stuff. Something's going on all the time around here.
So I got a call late today on a resident, I'll forward you over to Rainier Road.
Yep.
So there must have been some construction that was done in front of her house where sidewalks, replacing sidewalks for a long time, she thinks?
Not the curving, but yeah,
Okay.
it's been going on for a little while.
So what's the schedule? Because I think she's just reaching out because they thought that they would come back, but but she's saying they still just dug up, no curbs, mud, and just wondering what the status is.
So the contractor pulled off the construction job for probably a couple of weeks. It was around the Thanksgiving holiday. Then some bad weather came and they just got delayed. Now we're in the winter time. So unfortunately, we're not going to get the curbs in this year, which I really wanted to at least get that done. I could reach out to her just to.
Yeah, I think you should probably go, like, walk that whole area. If we're saying that that's the condition that it's going to be in through winter.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Well, no, it's not. They're gonna clean it up. It's not gonna be like it is now. They know they need to go out there and do some work.
So we expect them back.
They're still working. They're actively working. They're cleaning up. They're trying to get it as safe as possible. So for the winter.
Okay. Okay. So I'll give you her address.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Land use and historic preservation.
Thank you, Mayor. So we had our last library meeting, which lasted about 3.5 hours.
Oh, my goodness.
Year end, it was a rough one. We spoke, finally, they are on board with forming a foundation to get a 501(c). So that's been, I think, talked about for many years, and it's finally happening. Or they're being active about it, let's put it that way. We also went over year-end financials and raises and so forth and so on, which still have to be, set in stone, which they're not in yet. But it was interesting.
And so any additional compensation, we'll sort of understand what that is before they do it?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, definitely. So otherwise, it was definitely a good year-end meeting, a little long, but good. And I just want to say I look forward to next year, and I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Happy New Year.
Did you go to the historic preservation?
Didn't have one.
Oh, they didn't have one this month? Okay. Thank you. I just want to make sure. Council President Anthony Carter?
Oh,
He got disconnected.
He got disconnected.
Oh, okay, thank you. Francine Glazier, this would be her last meeting officially, is not feeling well. So that's unfortunate because we had a little presentation planned for her. And if she's feeling better, we'll incorporate it into our reorganization meeting on January 2nd at 12 o'clock here. Liz Jeffrey also is not feeling well, which is why she's not here. Boy. Yeah, just a lot of the end of the year stuff. So as we, again, wind down the year, I have the distinct honor of giving our governing body their salaries for 2022. So if anyone wanted to know if we get compensated for all of this work of love, the answer is yes. We get $1 a year. So hold on, so this is a good photo op here. Right? Here's to Jeff, right here.
Is this going to put me into the next tax
Here.
person?
Here, wait, I gotta get mine here, right, so Tom, like these are, held them up, guys, held them up, these are our dollar checks.
I think printing it is a
Right. And I'm glad we sort of did this publicly because normally I think we just get handed them in the past and stuff like that. And I think that for the community at large to understand it is a true dedication and calling to serve because we believe we each can make a difference up here. And we want to thank Francine for the stepping forward and leaning in. And we're going to welcome Gina Berry. And the public is invited to our reorganization, right, which is on that Monday, January 2nd at 12 o'clock here, and then we will be doing a luncheon immediately following at the Carriage House, which all of our boards and commissions and our public is allowed to, everybody's allowed to come. And I just want to say a heartfelt thank you to each of my colleagues up here. We meet twice a month, but yet they are working at this in some capacity almost every single day. And that is not an understatement, but it is actually reality. And we're here to support our staff, so I want to just say thank you to Russ Ugel, who has guided us and tried to keep us in the legal lane, to Kathleen for all the good work you do as our borough clerk and also as our liaison to our seniors, to Raina Harris, who runs our day-to-day business, to Patricia Solardo, who keeps us solvent and is a voice of reason, and to our borough engineer, who we are so glad that you're here and you've become sort of a jack of all trades for us, in addition to sort of all of that, and to Mike Bramhall's here in the audience, and to all the men and women, and to Tom Krantz, who sat up here and who is never that far from us. So we appreciate it because it is a lovely town. There's bumps in the roads, there's highs, there's lows. People can get frustrated. It can be an emotional job at times, but at the end, at its core, is we believe we actually make a difference, and we do it on behalf of you, the people here, and so we thank you for the trust and the confidence to guide, because we do the best that we can. So I want to wish everybody a nice Hanukkah and a Merry Christmas and a Happy Kwanzaa. Do we do our menorah lighting? Is that tomorrow?
I believe so. Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, so I haven't seen if the menorah is there, but.
It's there.
Okay, that's good.
No, it's there, yeah.
That's good. Every once in a while, I'm like,
It's late.
there? Yeah, it's always like.
2 days, 3 days.
So that is really our last borough business that we will do. I will ask for the motion to open the meeting to the public.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have anybody
Just
on
ready.
social
Just
media?
everybody.
Do we have anybody here? Yes?
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. I want to thank you for the earlier proclamation that was handed out. Thank the administrator and the governing body for allowing us to do that, and special thank you to Kathleen Holmes for putting it together. It was definitely a special moment.
It was.
We've all been around long enough to know that events like that, the majority of the time, don't work out the way this one did, and it was really a team effort. But I just wanted to thank the governing body for allowing us to do that proclamation tonight. On behalf of the police department, I want to wish you all very happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas.
Did you have a guest today?
We had a guest today, yes, thank you for reminding me, Mayor. We had Dr. Cesar DePaco from Summit Nutritionals International came by today to introduce himself. I'd never met him personally. For recollection purposes, this past spring he donated $10,000 to the police department that we put to use for new defibrillators, which was kind of interesting because that topic was up in the earlier part of the meeting. But 4 new defibrillators, which are unfortunately on back order, but they're on their way, and outer vest carriers for all of the officers in the department. And while he was out today, I took a tour of the building. He took some pictures with us, and thank you to Tom Krantz. I call him at 10:15, and he's there at 10:45 to take pictures for us. So that's such an invaluable service, I know, to the entire borough, but from my world, specifically the police department. And while he was here, he said he's going to give us additional money for some police bicycles. So we're getting some price quotes, and he's going to buy us police bicycles.
Yeah.
And we're good.
That's
We'll have him back
awesome.
again for another picture.
Exactly.
We had the big prop check made up, and we took some pictures with him today. He was originally going to come to tonight's council meeting, and I got a call late last night that said he can't make the meeting, but he wants to be there at 11. We said, we'll make it happen.
Right, exactly.
Of course. But he's a tremendous gentleman. He was out with his wife today. And I just can't say enough about the support that he gives to law enforcement in general. It's not just Fanwood. He's very philanthropic and has donated to all different law enforcement agencies throughout New Jersey and other states as well. So thank you again for your
We're
continued
fortunate,
support.
right, that we're on his radar.
Yeah, totally.
We'll always welcome him here. So
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Michael Lewis, 41 Beach Avenue in Fanwood. Quick question first for Ms. McElroy Barker through the mayor. I know we're doing a lot of things with regards to fees and licensures. Are we doing anything with dog and cat licenses this year?
We did.
No, we looked at trying to change our licensing structure. We are at the statutory maximum, and we didn't think that it would be beneficial and bring in a significant amount of revenue to change our cat licensing.
No, but what
fees.
we did do in the early part of the year was we sent out notices and reminders in a forms
Yes.
that we have
Yes.
not done before.
Yes, we sent out additional requests for people to, reminders to license your animals, but we did not change the fees.
That's what I need to know.
Yes.
Oh, yes, sorry.
And we are doing, we actually proofed another reminder to begin the 2023.
That's terrific. No, seriously.
Yeah, no, we just sent out reminders this year, but the fees are not huge.
I'm putting on my Board of Health cap on now. I speak only for myself, not for other members of the board or the Board of Health as a whole. Board of Health had a meeting on December 1st. We looked at a couple of things. We are tweaking with various licensures and fees. I don't think anything is set in stone as of yet, but there'll be some bumps up going forward. We were presented with our own shared services agreement with the Westfield Regional Board of Health. We're looking at a 3-year renewal starting next year through 2025, starting off at $51,085 with a 3% increase for the 2 following years. It seems to be in line with what is being presented to other towns. We haven't made a final decision on this yet. That'll come next year with a finalization of this. And it seems to be in line also with what it would cost us to do it ourselves. So we've always gone on well with the Westfield Board of Health. Right
And the
now,
resources that they have.
yeah, resources that they have. Other thing that we looked at, we made a modification. There was the passage of an ordinance modifying what occurs when there is, with regards to food handling and preparation. We've been assured, basically, that it'll streamline how things are handled going forward, allow us to address issues quickly and fairly while maintaining a proper level of due process. So that's coming into effect next year. It doesn't change anything that's happened this year, but going forward, things will be more straightforward. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Thank
we
you.
can get a copy of the proposed contract? Okay, and then Russ, any ordinances that they do,
I looked at the.
that one?
Membership rules just for-
Right, anything going forward? Okay.
You know, he's reminding me that I did forget to mention that one of the things we have addressed, and we did talk about in our final meeting, was looking at all of the fees. And we spent actually a lot of time on that, so I apologize. We have looked at all of the fees that we charge as a borough, again, as sources of revenue that won't necessarily just hit everybody's taxes. And there were several areas where we were able to, where we should be increasing those fees. Again, most of these fees are not going to affect most residents. But we are doing our very best to increase revenue in every creative possible way that we can. And what we have learned through this process is that Fanwood is far cheaper than most towns. And we probably need to change that a little bit. So I forgot to mention that.
Are those EV stations going to go in next year? Speaking of more.
We didn't talk about
Collecting
that.
more revenue.
See, I wasn't going there. It's the end of the year. I wasn't
So
going
first
there.
of all,
I had to.
we wouldn't be getting any revenue. It would go towards the company that we would have.
Right, because we don't pay them, we don't pay anything
Not
for
with this
it.
service,
Yeah.
for those, but they're having their own issues, so.
Oh, no.
Lovely.
Raina, is there anything as the administrator at the end of the year?
I will say that the fee ordinances that we've been reviewing, we anticipate going over them with the 2023 Administration and Finance Committee, and hopefully they can be introduced at the January regular meeting. They're ready to go, we just want to discuss them with the new committee.
Why? We okayed them last week, whatever. Okay. I thought we were just putting them on in January.
They're going to go on at the regular
Okay.
meeting.
Because we agreed to put them on in January, right?
Right, yes, that's just regular meeting in January.
Okay.
Okay.
sewer connection committee business.
Okay,
I just wanted to
all
share
right.
some.
So I think that's it, right? So I have a motion to close the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So is any final comments?
It's gonna be enforced.
Councilwoman Walsh, any final comments?
Yes, thank you. So once again, I'd just like to say it really is my pleasure to be on the council. I feel fortunate to work with these lovely people, all of you. Thank you very much. And wish the residents a very happy and safe and peaceful holiday season. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
I've said enough. Happy holidays.
I just want to say, I think everybody knows at this point that I was reelected again, and I thank the residents of Fanwood for that. And I just have to tell you that I really do love what I do. Otherwise, I would have said no. So I wish you all happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, and my holiday Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Councilman Bengtson?
I already wished everybody, but I also want to say, please, everybody, stay healthy. And I wish every one of you a very nice, happy, and healthy holiday.
Same here. So with that, I would take a motion to adjourn our last meeting of 2022.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night. Yeah, all right.
All right, there we
Good
go.
year.